Whatto chaps, I'm Magical Mike and I'd like to ask and answer a few questions about the Guardian Elite specialization, the Firebrand. Hopefully I can explain quickly what it does, how it does that thing, and most importantly how it feels, and ask the question if it's fun or not. But first up, let's see what ANET thinks the Firebrand is all about. Roll of 80!
Firebrands are zealous lore keepers, skilled in conjuring magical fire. They use mantras to charge spells for instant use, and wield axes to cleave their foes at short range. Their virtues are replaced by conjured tomes of lore. These tomes act as weapons with which to rebuke enemies and protect allies.
You know, when I first saw these quick trailers, I didn't think they were very good and I thought they had pretty much no information in them, but I was wrong. They mention exactly how most of these classes' mechanics work. Firebrand gets mantras, tomes the axe, gets in the enemy's face and smites everything in glorious holy flames. So let's step into the crazy world of Arthur Brown and I'll take you to learn. I would totally use this song if copyright wasn't an issue, but oh well. The axe is definitely going to benefit from condition builds. The auto attacks bleed and burn in some lovely sweeping cleave animations. The symbol is nicely animated, crippling and bleeding enemies that get caught in it, and skill 3 is a 600 range pull that also burns in case you need more of it and need to bring them back into smiting range. The mantras are alright, I guess. Functionally I like them, but they're relatively boring in terms of how they work. All of them cast in a cone in front of you, so you sort of have to aim them. The ones that hit enemies are fine, but turning around or backing up slightly to hit allies might be awkward. They also all have 3 charges and work on the ammo system, which I quite enjoyed, since it felt like I could use them quite often. The last charge on these mantras is extra powerful, but I didn't like charging them back up, so would almost never use that last charge. I liked Mantra of Flame's quick burn, Potence's access to quickness, and Liberation's stun break that had a really short cooldown. Finally, and most impressively, we get tomes back. These replace our virtues but not the passives, so you still get burn on every few attacks, regen from your F2 and Aegis from Courage's passive. But now activating them gives you a fancy swirly tome animation and your weapon skills get replaced by some powerful abilities that you'll want to use situationally. Tome of Justice gives you a lot of burning, a massive fire field and a pull to target skill. Tome of Resolve give you a bunch of healing and cleansing skills. You also get access to a water field and healing effectiveness buff. And Tome of Courage gives you some handy stuff as well. A taunt, some swiftness finally, retaliation and stability, an AoE stun break and a projectile reflecting bubble. All of these abilities feel satisfying and strong to use. At first I was worried that the Tome cooldown combined with the page system and Tome skill cooldowns would feel clunky, but after playing around with them, I think that they're so much more useful than Core Guardian's virtues and the Dragon Hunter's versions too. Sure, the Dragon Hunter can block projectiles while it continues to DPS, but the Firebrand can reflect projectiles for a much longer period, while also providing other benefits from the same tome. And that's just one example. You'll get a lot of use out of these tomes, I think. Personally, I found a couple of really fun condition builds to play around with. The first one used Renewed Justice in the Radiant straight line to recharge your Tome of Justice on kills. Well, it was bugged over the weekend, but it will work just fine eventually. The idea was to jump into the Tome of Justice and just spam burns all over the enemy in a super fast burst, melting them away as if you'd just looked inside the Ark of the Covenant. Using all of the bottom traits in Firebrand really buffs the tomes, so if you just want to blast those skills as much as possible, you can absolutely do that. The second build I used focused more on the axe and torch skills and buffing myself and allies with quickness and Ashes of the Just, slamming a foe with the symbol to daze them and granting quickness all the time, throwing Zealot's Flame all over the place, and stacking silly amounts of burning over time with a quick fire trait was incredibly satisfying, and looks to be a more sustainable build over spamming the tome abilities. Sure, it isn't as bursty, but it's effective and maybe more importantly, just as fun to play. My favourite was definitely seeing just how fast I could stack burns with the tome build though. I found it hilariously strong and mindless, and can't wait to see that working with Renewed Justice in PvE. I didn't spend any time looking into a support build with virtue traits, but I don't doubt that it's absolutely possible. Now, unless your name is JC and...
I'm not big into books.
then you should go grab some Condi gear, because...
You're gonna burn, alright.